afternoon, boys and girls. My name is Miss Hill, and I teach at North Shore Elementary School. Today, we're going to be going over some review standards that we learned earlier this year in third grade social studies. So to help us review today, we are going to be playing a game to find out what city and state my Great Dane Hank wanted to learn more about. So right here is a picture of Hank. He's a Great Dane. He's 4 years old, and he sometimes gets into a little bit of trouble. So today we're going to be reviewing different geography things that we've learned so far. So here are some of our standards that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the 50 states that we've learned. We're going to be looking at some major cities, some rivers, bodies of water, deserts, landforms. We're also going to be looking at geographical challenges like bridges and canals and dams and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to review a little bit. So major land features in the United States are, we have the Great Basin, where no water drains out of the desert region. This is the desert, right? Then we have the Rocky Mountains, a steep mountain range with many peaks over 10,000 feet high. The Grand Canyon, which some of us have gone to, it's 277 river miles, up to a mile deep in places. Then we have the Alaskan Range, North America's highest mountain range. And we have the Great Plains in the middle of the United States, dry, flat plateau of grassland. And then we're all familiar with the Appalachian Mountains, because where we live, the oldest mountain range in North America. So some major water features in the United States are the Great Lakes up north. There are 5 connected freshwater lakes, and many industries began nearby. Then we have the Ohio River, which we learn about, flows through the Fertile Valley and into the Mississippi River. Then we have the Good Mississippi River. Many rivers flow into it. It empties out all the way at the bottom in the Gulf of Mexico. Then we have the Gulf of Mexico down low, connects to the Atlantic Ocean. Then over here towards the west, we have the Rio Grande. It's Spanish for big river. It forms part of the border with Mexico. So right there. And then we have the Colorado River, often called the lifeline of the Southwest, right over here. So some major cities in the United States, we have Seattle out in the northwest, Los Angeles out west, Chicago up north, we have New York City, and we have Washington, D.C., and Miami. So all you're going to need today to play this game is a copy of the United States. So I have 2 copies that I gave you guys, one with the names of each state and one with, the one without. So it's up to you on which one you want to use. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can use the map with that is blank, or you could play first with the map with the states labeled and then later play again without the labeled map. And the next thing that you're going to be needing is the recording sheet. And this sheet right here is going to help you figure out places that Hank was not, so we can eventually figure out where he was hiding. So let's get started. So we have the 2 worksheets in front of us. Today I'm going to use the one with the states and my where is Hank, okay? I will ask you a review question about our states, capitals, geographical features, or human modifications to meet the needs of people. Each slide will give you a hint to where Hank was not. When you figure out that the capital and state, cross it off your worksheet. So when you figure it out and say, oh, Hank wasn't there, so say he wasn't in Montgomery, Alabama, then I'm going to cross out Montgomery, Alabama. When you get to the last slide, we will know what capital and state Hank was hiding in. All right. So here's Hank the Great Dane. So I took Hank the Great Dane on a road trip to visit the United States capitals and geographical features. Along the way, Hank was amazed by a state and its capital that he had never been before. He decided to hide there so he could learn more about this place and its capital. After using my map skills, I finally found Hank. He was in his new favorite state. Where was Hank hiding? So we got to find out where he hid. Here we go. Okay, first one. Hank was not in the smallest state. So let's think back. Which state is the very, very smallest state? He was not in that state. So once you figure it out, You're going to come over here to your little sheet and you're going to cross it off. Okay? Good. Number 2. Hank was not in either of the capitals of the 2 states that have the word north in their names. So there's 2 states that have the word north in their names. So find those 2 states. He was not in those 2 states. So I'm going to cross mine off. Good. All right. Number 3. Hank is not where North America's highest mountain range is. I'll give you a hint. Hank does not like cold places. So where is North America's highest mountain range? And it's somewhere cold. Number 4. Hank was not in either of the capitals of the 2 states that are directly west of Idaho. So we got to think back to our compass rose, remember? And it helps me to draw a compass rose. So I'm going to just draw a little compass rose at the bottom of my paper to help me remember what that looks like. So north, east, south, west. So I did that, so that'll help me. So the states that were directly west of Idaho, he was not in those 2 states. Number 5, Hank was not in the capitals of the 3 states whose names start with the letter C. So he was not in the states that start with the letter C. Number 6, Hank cannot swim. He was not in the state that is made up of islands and was the last state admitted to the Union. So he's not a good swimmer. So he's not going to be on a state that's made up of islands because there's no way to get there. So what state is that? Number 7, Hank was not in the state with the Grand Canyon. He was not in the state with the Grand Canyon. So remember, the Grand Canyon's out west. So think and look at your map. What state did he not stay in? It has the Grand Canyon. And I'm looking at my map to help me figure this out. Number 8, Hank was not in the states that touch the Gulf of Mexico. There's a hint for you. There's 5 different states that touch the Gulf of Mexico. So he is not in any of the states, or was not in any of the states that touch the Gulf of Mexico. Remember back to our review that the Gulf of Mexico is down low, down south. So wasn't in 5 different states down by the Gulf of Mexico. And if you want to, you can also cross these places off your map too. That might help. Number 9, Hank was not in the capitals of the 8 states that touch the Great Lakes. So remember when we were reviewing, we looked at the Great Lakes. So he was not in the capitals of the 8 states that touch the Great Lake. So we got to cross off 8 states. Okay, there's 8 states by the Great Lakes that he did not hide in. Remember, the Great Lakes are up north. Use your compass rose in your map to help you locate where those Great Lakes are. So we're finding the 8 states that touch the Great Lakes, and he was not in those states. Number 10, Hank was not in the state where the Hoover Dam is. He is not in the state where the Hoover Dam is located. Remember, that's a geographical or a man-made geographical feature that we've learned about. He was not in the state where the Hoover Dam was. Number 11, Hank was not in the capitals of the states that start with the letter M. So any of the states that are left that start with the letter M, he was not in those states. So we can cross the states with M's that are left over out. Number 12 should be easy for all of us. Hank was not in Nashville. So what state do we need to cross off for this one? Good. Number 13. Hank was not in any of the capitals with new in the state's name. So there's a couple states that have the word new in them. So there are 3 states with new in their name. He was not in any of those states. I'm going to give you a hint, like New Jersey. Cross off the 3 states that have the word new in them. Number 14. Hank was not in the 2 states that are east of Kentucky. So use your compass rose, east of Kentucky. He was not in the 2 states that are east of Kentucky. Number 15. Hank was not in the 4 capitals north of Texas. Hank was not in the 4 capitals north of Texas. So we're going to look at the state of Texas, and you're going to go 4 states north, and he's not in any of those 4 states. So Hank was not in the 4 states north of Texas. So use your map to help you find Texas. And in the states that are north of Texas, he's not in those 4 states. Number 16, Hank was not in the state that touched the ocean. So remember, he didn't really like water, can't swim, right? So he's not in the state that touched the ocean. This rules out 4 more states. So there's 4 more states that we can cross off that he was not in because they touched the ocean. Number 17, Hank is not in the state with the Great Salt Lake. So he's not in the state with the Great Salt Lake. Number 18, Hank is not in the state known for racing horses. Somewhere close to us. He's not in the state known for racing horses. Number 19, Hank is not in the capital that is north of Baton Rouge. So you got to find Baton Rouge, and he's not in the state that's north of Baton Rouge. So use your map, use your compass rose. He's not in the capital that is north of Baton Rouge. Number 20, Hank is not in the state that is between Minnesota and Missouri. So find Minnesota, find Missouri, and he's not in the state in between those 2. Number 21, Hank is not in the state that has a college with blue turf. This might not be something you learned about, but it's something you could research. There's a state that has a big college in it that their football field has blue turf. I know, it's crazy, right? So he's not in that state that has a blue turf for the college football field. Could you imagine if Tennessee had an orange turf field? All right, number 21 was our last one, so we made it. Where does Hank want to learn more about? So you should only have 1 state left on your Where is Hank sheet. That is the state that he was hiding. So we got to find out. So we should only have 1 state open. We should have crossed off every other state. What state did he want to learn more about? And the state was Cheyenne, Wyoming. So Hank hid there, couldn't find him, and I had to go back to figure out where he was. And he was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Good job, boys and girls. I'm so proud of how hard you worked, and we reviewed a lot of skills to figure out where Hank had been hiding. Good job. So we used our knowledge of states and capitals, geographical features, and human modifications to land to find out where Hank had been. Good job. So some fun activities to practice your states and capitals. If you click on this link right here, there is tons of fun games where you can review all your states, all your capitals. I'll even time you for a challenge. It's lots of fun. And then there's a fun song about the 50 states, and it goes through each of the states. and different funny facts about those states. So those are two great fun online activities that you can do to just keep your brain refreshed on those states. And then I made a little fun choice board if you want to do this. It's totally optional and just something fun if you want to practice your states. So one of them is compare and contrast two states. So tell me how they're alike and how they're different. Then there's another one where you could create a storyboard about a state. So like think about the history of the state, and you could create like a cartoon or a storyboard about that state and its history. A biography study, so you could find a famous person from that state and do a biography about that person. So that would be really fun to do. The weather, so you could pick one state and tell me about their weather. You can have one state, 6 reasons to visit. So maybe that's a state that you really want to go to, and 6 reasons why you would want to visit that state, or what's like intriguing about that state. You can make a true or false activity about the 50 states. That's a lot of fun to do. Sports, I like this one. The sport one, name one state's teams and the cities where each stadium is located. So some states have lots of stadiums and lots of teams. So that would be fun to research. Another one you could do is land features. Name and draw one state's land features. That would be really fun to do if you like artsy stuff. And the last one is water features. Name and draw one state's water features. That's another fun one if you like to draw. Thank you so much, boys and girls, for following along with me today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see everyone soon. Thank you. Bye.